Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. My stacking goals for 2021 and why I don't take them very seriously. Let's explore. Very rarely, in fact, can't remember a time where I've actually laid out what my goals are for the upcoming year. This may be a first, and maybe this video really more explains why I don't typically do that. The closest thing you may see is after the fact, where I post my accumulations for the prior year, and mainly it's been gold over the past few years, and where I can say, well, my goal was exceeded because you didn't know what my goal was in the first place. And I like to keep it that way. I like to keep it very fluid. Many times people post goal videos to kind of set themselves on the record for what they plan to accumulate. It adds a little bit of pressure, and it's something that I really don't recommend doing because there's so many different factors that can come into play with your own personal financial situation. To me, that's paramount. That's been a topic of this channel since really its inception, about being fiscally responsible. And sometimes things change, and they can change on a dime, literally, even if it's a silver dime. And so that's why goals and goal setting has to be somewhat fluid. I think it's fine to adhere to a goal and to try to meet a goal. But you have to keep in mind that things do change, and you have to be fluid and flexible in those situations. And that is why I am posting this video to talk about really what my goals are and what they have been in the past, really, so that you understand kind of my mindset when accumulating precious metals, which is not the mindset of a stacker per se. Although when I do accumulate, well, stacking happens to be the benefit or the side effect of the accumulation of these precious metals. And so what does that look like in my view as somebody who is a collector and a stacker? That's right. A little bit of both. I do accumulate. I've posted videos where I've purchased gold or silver or even platinum eagles, for instance. Those would be considered stacker coins. And for some people, they're not a fan, and myself included, on some of the designs of those pieces, especially as collectors. But we have them anyway to accumulate for the collection as part of a stack, more so than as a collectible. Yea, though, last year, 2020, I did accumulate some gold buffaloes, gold eagles, silver eagles, platinum eagles, because of the year. And so in some ways, even though the design is pretty much the same as you see in any other year, I accumulated them as keepsakes for that year. So I always kind of get them from the collector angle, even though they are just purely stacker coins with normal premiums. You know, as a collector, you accumulate many times, more often than not, paying a much higher premium, that collector premium. If you want a certain year, or if you want a certain design or style, a particular piece, you know, you are going to accumulate because you enjoy what the design is or what it's represented, such as what you see here before you. These are John Wick gold and silver rounds offered exclusively from APMEX, and they just have a cool sentiment about them in relation to the John Wick movies, which I thought were great, and where gold is used as a medium of exchange in the underworld for sure. And so proud to have these examples, and this is kind of where I'm going to be heading in 2021. My goal is to try to accumulate more gold if I can. I have an ultimate goal, which I've not really made public in my goal setting for gold goal setting. And that is something that I kind of keep close because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to set myself up to be committed to meeting that goal, even though that's kind of what it's about, because things can change. I may need to sell some of that gold. I may need to sell some silver. But I have definitely changed focus over the last few years, since about 2017, focusing more on gold than silver. But I'm still am accumulating some silver to either to complement a gold, like a silver version of the gold coin, and other aspects in terms of sets, collectibles, keeping up with my core collecting, such as the modern commemorative coins. All of those now are being offered in 3 nines fine silver as opposed to 90% silver like they had been in 2018, all the way back to 1982 when the series first started. So I will continue in that vein and pay a very high premium for those pieces that more often than not will suffer great loss in the secondary market if ever I needed to sell. But as a collector, you pay that price to keep your collections up. And for me, that's what it's about. It's not about flipping them or making a profit on them, although I have done that with some collector coins in the past 2 years, very rarely, because I don't consider myself a flipper either. But it all goes to the ultimate goal of being able to accumulate more a particular metal. Because I am a collector, I want to be able to maintain some of the aspects of what it means to be a stacker. That is why I've focused more on gold. If I buy a rare gold coin, more than likely the premium on that gold coin will not be nearly as high percentage-wise as it would be on a premium silver collector coin, which means that there's more of the intrinsic value of the gold contained therein than there is the premium, which means I will suffer much less of a loss if I need to sell it, provided it's liquid enough. Something like this is probably not going to be very liquid. In fact, you'd be hard-stretched to find and see where it gives the weight and purity. 4 nines fine gold there at the very, very bottom of this, and more than likely, unless you had seen the movie, you would have no idea what this coin was or this round was. And so that is something to keep in mind when you have a collectible piece like this that really doesn't have any accompanying paperwork with it. And, many dealers out there would have no clue what that is. But it is gold, and they could test it, and they would just buy it as essentially scrap gold, really, essentially, because there's no denominating factor on it and the like. And that would be the case for many collector coins. This is an example of probably the most extreme for gold and silver products that are out there that would be barely recognizable unless you knew exactly what they were and had watched the movies or paid attention in this specific community about how these were showcased and represented. The other reason why I don't take my goals too seriously is because I don't really have a set number of anything that I want to accumulate in a given year. I don't set that for myself. You saw in past videos where I say my goal was exceeded. Well, the goal was exceeded based off the prior year. So in some ways that number's there, but it's loose. Last year I accumulated a certain number of ounces of gold. I can't make that promise I'm going to do it this year because the prices more than likely will be much higher, and I may not make as much money this year as I did last year. Some of my income is very fluid and flexible, but nonetheless, there's other factors that could come up as well. An auto repair, medical expense. There's things that do come along. Now, does that mean if you set goals, does that mean because of those factors that weigh in on everybody that you should not set goals? No, it does not. I have an overall overreaching goal that transcends years. In other words, my ultimate goal for gold does not have a time stamp on it. There's no end. Well, the end of my life maybe, but there's nothing there that is preventing me from moving ahead in terms of a deadline. There's no deadline on that goal. For silver, I really don't have any goals because I feel like I've accumulated enough of that in terms of weight. Seeing where prices could go this year, I'm bullish on both gold and silver. And it's one of those things where the price is now, where I think the price is going to be end of 2021, it might make sense for me to try to stack more silver. But at the same time, I really do feel like I have enough. I'm still going to try to just laser beam focus on gold if I can in the coming year, because I want to narrow down my personal silver to gold ratio. But it's very difficult to do because most of my silver is, as is the case with gold, is in collectibles. And those collectibles, in terms of stacking, has not been the best way to preserve my wealth because of the very high premiums tied to them. They're attractive coins. Silver is extremely reflective and beautiful the way that it is presented in terms of the way you can put finishes on coins, such as this particular coin here. It's just a proof, but it's just stunning. The reflectivity and the craftsmanship and the sculpting nature of these high reliefs especially are awe-inspiring. They're absolutely amazing. And I was a, quote, sucker for these things for many, many years. And the packaging tied to those is just very, very space intensive. It takes up a lot of space. And that is one factor why I have shifted more towards gold, because you can pack a lot more value and still get a lot of the beauty in some of these collector coins in a much tighter and smaller space for value. And so that's why that overall goal will continue this year in terms of trying to accumulate more gold than silver, in terms of where I put my money. And so that is the goal and where it's reaching. And I'm not against goal setting, but it's different for each person. And this is why you don't see me. I would say that if your goal setting puts undue pressure on you to where you're going to be potentially fiscally irresponsible in the accumulation phase, then I would encourage you against it. If you know the balance for the coming year and beyond, and can weigh that balance and come to the understanding of what it means to set goals and how they must be flexible in times of financial security. There may be times where you may need, if in this year some have predicted there's going to be great hardship, economic and otherwise, and the threat to the financial system and possibly another recession, it may not be a bad idea to have some cash on hand as well too, and be prepared by getting food and other things and storage food. And I have given a lot more thought to maybe getting some extra food, one of those 25-year storage things, and that you hear talked about on commercials and the like, and find it really good. I know there are so many different ones out there, but that might be, there's other goals you should set as well, other than precious metals in the coming year. And so I would encourage you to just rethink your whole strategy, a holistic approach in a sense. We do talk about precious metals. That's what the focus of this channel is. It's not a prepping channel. But I do think now more than ever that being prepared is paramount, and precious metals should be just one part of the whole field of view in terms of your financial and well-being, and as well as your general well-being, and be able to protect yourself and your families, because really that's what it's about. It's about having financial and security, stability, and being able to have providence in your lives in all aspects. And a lot of that is outside of the realm of precious metals. And for me, it's a struggle because I do like to collect, and I do tend to want to pay a premium for a coin, even if it's just a particular date I want and it's a common design. I might tend to pay more for it, and in some ways that's not good. It's not wise, but it is what it is. I've learned my balance. I know my weaknesses in that area, And so I'll continue to press on. But I wanted to take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy new year in 2021. And as a sort of a ending note here, a little housekeeping with the channel, this is the first year that I have not come up with a brand new intro and outro for my videos. I'm going to keep the 2020 intro and outros indefinitely, as it's received the most praise of all the intros and outros I've done. I've also found that when I've done those each year, there's an equal amount who have said, oh, I love the new intro, and then there's people saying, well, I really like this one, but I really liked last year's or the year before that. And so you can't please everybody. And this intro and outro, the music and the graphics has received just enough praise, I guess, or people liking it, that I'm just going to keep it. It takes a lot of time and effort to do those intros as I do them from scratch. And so I'm just going to keep this one and hope some will enjoy it. There's a very few of you that hate it. And so I'm sorry. I can't please everybody, but I want to hope you will stick with me on the channel in spite of that. And I want to wish you all a very happy and prosperous and healthy 2021. May God bless you all and extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch this video, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.